Hi, this is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry site, and today we're here with Dr. William Herring. He is the Vice President of Research and Development at Cobb. Thanks so much for being with me today, William.
Hey, great to be here, and always good to see and visit with you again.
Fantastic. I feel the same exact way. And William and I today are at 2026 IPPE in Atlanta, Georgia, and we've got some exciting news to talk about for Cobb. You announced a new product today. Can you tell us more about the new product and what is going to differentiate it in the market?
Yeah, there's a bit of a story there. First of all, it's got a name. It's the Cobb800. So, walk you back just a little bit, right, to tell the story of how we got here, because while today we announced the product, this has been over 3 years in development. And so it's really kind of a cool story. So one of the things that myself and my team was challenged with back 3.5 years ago, we had a couple of challenges, but one of them was Cobb did not have a competitive product on that value proposition I outlined, which was yield, good breeder, right, all of those things, good broiler, all wrapped up together. And very quickly, albeit based on small data at that time, myself and the team identified some genetic lines that we did not have in the marketplace. So we immediately began to internally, within our R&D assets at that time, began to test at small scale, breeder and the broiler. Right. And the results looked like the modeling, based on the small data at that point, did exactly what it said it was going to do. And so we brought in at that point we were in a timeline of our proving grounds assets to really start to test at some scale the breeder. And we also had one of our primary customers that was highly interested in the product, and they began to test it at the breeder level as well. And all of those results continued to validate from the initial small data all the way through. So we're like, okay, we're on the meter of confidence, we're getting closer over to the right side of certainty. And so as we got to the final stages really of the summer of 2025, because we're in 26, we worked with a number of integrators across North America and also to some extent globally as well, because anywhere where there's a debone process or with a value proposition around white meat yield, this has a play. This has an important part in that process. So our team and our account managers, our technical services team, from primarily North America, but from other parts of the world where we did test, we began to test different sites, different locations all over geographically, different systems, and honestly at different weights. So I mean, all the way at a lighter debone of 5 pounds, give or take, all the way to 10-ish. The product was feather sexable, so some of those wanted to go that route as well. Got all the broiler results and the debone results, and it thankfully mapped to exactly those same expectations. Cobb's never had a product that has been so thoroughly vetted and tested from beginning to end as the 800. So we're in a very confident spot in terms of what we know the bird can do, and the value where that product really fits is where there's a value proposition on white meat debone. First and foremost, that's where it fits. It also has to fit as a very acceptable and prolific breeder. It does that as well, and also with very solid broiler performance. The other part about that is we're not one and done. Right. Okay. While we identified those lines back 3.5 years ago, at that point, to be sure we were not going to look back and say we've got a product, we just let it sit still. Right. We began intense selection at that point in time for further improved yield, for further improved broiler performance, for further improved breeder performance with consumer acceptable meat quality.
Right.
And so we have those lines that make up that product today are even providing more elite genes going down as young parent stock today.
Wow. Yeah.
Since that time, because remember, it takes me about
Right.
3 years, give or take, to push the result down through the pipeline through a commercial product. So that's an awesome story.
Yeah.
There's more great to come
Yeah.
associated with it as well. So
Exciting stuff. Exciting stuff. Is this replacing an existing product, or is it a new addition to Cobb's product portfolio?
really good question. And I want to be sure that I provide a clear answer on that, because no, this is new and organic to Cobb's portfolio. So there shouldn't be any cannibalization of if you have Cobb800 down today. So this is truly around the value proposition is if you debone. On the Cobb500 side, and let me take a step back. That product is for I think of it generally as a small bird non-debone product, where broiler performance is incredibly important, hog yield is important, breeder performance is important. We really began a number of very key initiatives at the pedigree level 3.5 years ago that were new to Cobb around just the right practice around genetic selection, utilization of genomics, having the population structured correctly, and we banked out that this should give us this amount of progress per year. I can tell you, and this is not in dispute either, that all of the customer feedback that we've gotten over the previous months from around the world, number one, and then customer feedback from around the world this week, because there's clearly a lot of people that come in and share data. We've been generating around 5 to 6, sometimes as much as 10 eggs per year that our customers are seeing year over year. And so the 500 for hitting that small bird target, important to the lighter, and when I say lighter, I mean I'm 5-6 pounds and down. That is an incredible chicken today, and should demand serious use within, if your business has a fit for that type of product. So it is in a different place today, and I can tell you without sharing the results, it won't be the same bird next year or the year after that as well, because the same things that generated the change of taking it where it is today are things that are going to happen in 27 and 28 and on down the line.
Very good. And you've alluded to this last question, but I want to make sure that we're clear on it as well. Is this product specific to a region, or is it global? Because you said you've done research in different parts of the world, right?
The Cobb800.
Yeah, the 800.
Yeah, no, good question. So no, it's global in terms of its availability. And a little bit of it's going to be how the global marketplace evolves, because it is very much a global marketplace on the supply-demand side. Short answer to your question, no, it's not only a North American product. That is where most of the demand is associated with it, but we are seeing integrators that are in that value discovery that are into now more of this is the opportunity area for them to improve their business. Integrators, wherever they sit within the globe, have value in deboned white meat. This product has a play, and we're seeing an evolution outside of North America of more and more businesses. I call it value discovery, of figuring out how to maximize their margins associated with, do I keep this product within my home country? Do I take this part and export it because there's greater value, etc.? So that's really triggered a lot of interest in this internationally outside of North America.
We certainly see the demand for chicken rising globally, right? So you can see where these products will find a home in regions of the world that need them.
I do fundamentally agree with you. As we look across the other protein segments, we have just from a North American perspective, we have a interesting pricing scenario with beef and a shortage of supply, and everyone's familiar with that. We have pork that is somewhere in that in between, and we have a growing consumer. And this, I would say, this is globally, that as the population grows, I fundamentally think that, one, people are going to eat protein.
Right.
I think chicken is going to, on a per capita basis, be a greater portion of that.
Right.
So if you're in this business, I don't think it's going anywhere, and I don't think there's anything but topside growth. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in the poultry industry. Thanks again for all the information today, William.
Super great to be here, and always great to visit with you.
Well, it's always fun when you're launching a product to be at a show. It's always a good time. So thanks again. This is Sarah Mikesell with the Poultry Site.